Paternity court gets chaotic.
Said he wanted to marry me.
No, my grandmother gave me that ring.
You probably
It's
lied about
priceless.
that.
It's priceless.
You lied about that.
I would never lie about my grandmother. She in the grave.
You're a liar.
She gave me that ring.
You're a liar.
Look at him.
He sent me papers with all his information to put him on child support so he could get it.
We
Yes,
wanted to get a
yes.
DNA test
Shut up.
because she
No,
didn't want to
that's
get
not
the
what
DNA
happened.
test done. It's
You
been
wanted to take me on the
it's been 3 or 4 years, and she didn't never want to know who the father of this child was.
Paying child support for a child you think isn't yours is like getting a ticket for a concert of a band you don't even enjoy. Mr. Portis is in a similar situation. He's been giving child support to Miss Middlebrooks' daughter, whom he doesn't believe is his own.
Mr. Portis, explain to the court why today's results are so important.
This started about 2 years ago. I started paying child support, $75 for this baby, and I never knew if she was mine or not. We never took a DNA test. We tried to, but it didn't go through.
Don't you have to get a DNA before you can be put on child support?
We went
You
together.
didn't show up to court twice.
It was once.
Miss Middlebrooks says she got pregnant a few months into their relationship with Mr. Portis. However, Mr. Portis disagrees and says they stopped talking shortly after she became pregnant, denying he's the father. Hold on, because our plaintiff did talk about another guy being involved.
What was your relationship with this other guy?
We were dating.
When?
Before Brian Portis.
So you dated him before you dated Mr. Portis?
Yes.
But when you met
And
Mr.
then he
Portis-
went away and we broke up.
He went away, you all broke up, then you started dating Mr. Portis?
Yes.
How soon after you and Mr. Portis started dating did you find out you were pregnant?
A month or two later.
Did you catch what she said? How old are these folks judging by appearances? They seem too young to make such decisions. But Mr. Portis brought up a letter from Miss Middlebrooks to his ex-boyfriend, where she says he's not the dad. Wondering why the hurry? Well, now her aunt is stepping in to help.
We didn't know anything about this guy here. We only knew about the other guy at the time.
You knew about this guy, Mr. Portis, right?
Yeah.
So why was your first instinct to send a letter to the guy that was away?
When I found out I was pregnant, I called him. He was distant after he had found out.
When was there a relationship?
All right, Auntie, just a heads up, a bit of your testimony won't make Miss Middlebrook popular with the crowd. You all need to step up your game. When Judge Lake questioned Mr. Portis about the pregnancy, things seemed to take a different direction in this session.
She wasn't communicating with my family at all. She wasn't talking to us or nothing like that. Every time she would talk to us, she would be disrespectful.
Or any of that. She was not even
That's the
talking
only
to
time
my
she would
son.
talk to us.
Wow.
She would be disrespectful.
Who was with you
Texting my
at
mom.
the birth?
Lying.
Hold on. Who was with you at the birth?
My ex
Middlebrooks?
was. He stepped up.
Oh, wait.
But she
The
wasn't
ex
messing with
was
the
there?
ex, though.
Yes. When I had her, yes, he was there.
Lower the volume, folks. This isn't a casual chat. These accusations are leading us down a road of unhappiness. But stay tuned, paternity peeps. Mr. Portis is about to spill the beans at the peak of his uncertainty. Oh, man.
Her ex that she was dealing with had contacted me on Facebook.
Okay, and what did he say? Now I'm starting to understand what's happening here. What happened?
He was basically saying like, yo, Brian, Jasmine, does she have you on child support and stuff like that? And I'm like, yeah, she does. She's been having me on child support. He was like, well, that's crazy because I'm taking care of her too.
Well, the drama's just getting more interesting. When the aunt was questioned about when Miss Middlebrook discovered her pregnancy, she accidentally said something that might have irked the nerve. Well, we know Judge Lauren has to be the center of every dispute.
I could tell by the way you were telling that story that you were trying to be evasive about something.
But
why this paternity question even exists. So when you asked her who the child's father is, she told you the ex. Was there some point where you told Mr. Portis that he was not the biological father?
No, I never told him he was not the dad, ever.
Oh, this situation seems impossible to recover from. With all the statements on record, Judge Lake steps in as the scientist and reveals the DNA results amid all the chaos. It's the only way to put an end to this dispute between the lovebirds.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Portis, you are the father. You are Ava's father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That is your beautiful little girl.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Matlock returned from a trip and discovered that his girlfriend was pregnant. Miss Monroe confessed that she had invited her ex-boyfriend to stay over while he was away. Despite knowing this, Mr. Matlock forgave her. But his feelings have changed now that there's a child involved.
Back in 2006, when me and Miss Monroe first got together, back in 07, I was down there for a week.
You said
it was
you
a
said
week.
you were going to be
No,
gone a weekend and you were gone a month.
It was a week. You're
You were
lying.
gone a
It
month.
was a week.
You were gone a month.
Anyway, Your Honor,
You were gone a month.
when I was gone for a week,
No, you were gone a week.
she moved her ex into our home.
Miss Monroe defended herself by saying that she kept calling Mr. Matlock while he was away, but he never answered. She thought he wasn't coming back. Oh, goodness. That's not how a relationship is supposed to work, lady.
Ms. Monroe, when he went out of town, did he voluntarily call you at all while he was gone?
Lies.
Maybe
Not one call.
Maybe 2 or 3 times, like the whole time he was gone.
Okay, so 2 or 3 times you did speak to him.
Yeah.
But when you called him, he didn't return your
He
call.
would not answer my call.
Wait, did she just say he never called? This woman contradicted herself. Also, Mr. Plaintiff should explain how he's known her since he was a little boy. He wanted to forget everything and move on. But fate had some unexpected twists and turns in store for him.
I get a phone call from my sister.
You ain't who
May
you
pregnant.
pretended to be.
Whoa, what you mean May pregnant? I just talked to her
I
on the
told you
phone.
that.
And you told my sister that you were pregnant. After I found out, I asked her, am I the father of the child? Who's
And
the
I
baby
was
daddy?
honest, right?
She
And what
looked
did
at
she
me
say?
and
I was
said,
honest.
that baby is not my baby.
So once you heard that,
Out.
It does seem like a messy situation. But why did Miss Monroe keep the pregnancy a secret? Well, she did eventually confess to Mr. Matlock that the baby is his, but that unfolds into a whole other story. And interestingly, Mr. Matlock appears to be completely dedicated to his scheduled dates.
at what point did she then claim that you might be the father?
December 31st, 08.
What we see, the dates that you were intimate with the defendant was last week in August. And you claimed that her ex was intimate with her during the beginning
Weeks
of
before me.
August, which is indicated in yellow.
Amid all the drama surrounding the paternity of the child, Mr. Matlock didn't neglect his responsibilities and continued to pay child support. This was happening even while he was uncertain. Yet, the baby mama didn't seem to appreciate that.
He sent me papers with all his information to put him on child support so he could get it.
We
Yes,
wanted to get a
yes,
DNA test
shut
done
up.
because
No,
she didn't want to
that's
get
not
the
what
DNA
happened.
test done. It's
You
been
wanted to take me on, Lori.
3 or 4 years, and she didn't never want to know who the father of this child was. So I got served with papers saying I missed my court date and I was a father by default.
Oh, ending up as father by default, and the mother acting all shady. Well, it was time for Judge Lauren to take charge and sort things out. So she revealed the truth by calling for the results. All right, let's dig into that.
Mr. Matlock, you are not.
I knew it. Go find your baby daddy. Put somebody else on child support. I want my money back. I want my money back. I told you I wasn't the father of that child. Knew it from the beginning. Trifling. Knew it. I knew it.
Wait a minute, let me make this one clear. Miss Glover was in paternity court with her 2 sons, saying they're not the dads of the kids from 2 women on the other side. Well, I guess that's an interesting twist for a family gathering. Let's see how it goes.
I didn't know nothing about her until she was in the hospital giving birth to the baby. That was my first time meeting her, hearing anything about her. Knew nothing of her. Asked her what was the baby name. She told me it was gonna be Ariana Danielle Glover. Where did you come up with that from? If he's not the father, where you get this name from?
So the supposed grandma here really wanted to be part of the situation. How cute! She wanted to experience the pregnancy journey. Well, that's a different story from what she first said. But anyway, the main point is she didn't know anything about her son's girlfriends or the baby. Let's hear what the defendant has to say about this.
Until you got to the hospital, but I told your son when I was pregnant, so that means he had to go and tell you, right?
He didn't tell me anything.
So,
because he didn't think of you, so he didn't tell me nothing.
Oh, your son thinks of me. If your son didn't think of me, why did he lay down with me?
Miss Staten.
That is you and his problem. I have nothing to do with that.
Miss Staten,
What I'm
let me
saying
ask
is
you a
never was
question.
brought to
Let
the
me ask
family.
you a question.
Never.
It seems like the son might be keeping a secret. Could there be another affair? Or was he just using Miss Staten temporarily? We'll find out soon. But it's surprising to learn they've been together for 8 years, and Mr. Donnell even signed the birth certificate. I sense a contradiction.
If he was so doubtful, why did he sign his name on a birth certificate?
Because that's how he was raised to be a man.
Cause I had that gut feeling. Now I know I had slept with her, so I went to her. I asked her, I said, yo, you pregnant? She said no. Now a few months down the line, she finally admitted she was pregnant. It was the other dudes.
There was way too much parental involvement in this case. And you know, Miss Staton doesn't remember denying Mr. Donnell's paternity out of anger. But according to Miss Glover's son, he did tell his father about the chance of another man being the father. Now that's what you call a daddy's little princess.
I only slept with him and only him in November. I haven't touched nobody or seen anybody in the month of November. So when I found out I was pregnant, I was 3 months pregnant, going on 4 months pregnant. Where he and his mom's talking about maybe baby, how about they do the calculation?
Oh boy, brace yourself for this part. Our dude shared with the court an incident at a restaurant where he overheard employees talking about Miss Staton. What a coincidence, right? On top of that, he noticed her avoiding them. And after that, Mr. Donnell created a mental timeline.
I slept with Miss Staton on the 10th.
Okay, of November.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
She said she conceived on the 30th. Now, I know math. I know she know math. That's 20 days apart. Now, I had the Jimmy on that night, Your Honor. Now, I want to know how do sperms stay floating around unless I'm a bad man for 20 days?
So your point is you use protection.
Yeah.
Let's get straight to the point, folks. Mr. Donnell said he's been taking care of the child since day one. But if that's true, it seems he must have had doubts. One day, he visits the baby mama and discovers another man on the couch, claiming to be the stepdad.
When you say you know the truth, what truth do you know?
What I'm saying is that her and the other dude, like they tried to keep us so far apart when I was there. I already felt like it was something going on, like somebody in the family was telling a big old lie.
You feel like the whole family was keeping from you the fact that she's been involved with other men, and they're not telling you the whole story.
Son ain't right.
Oh man, this case keeps getting more complicated, and no one's willing to give either side a break. Thankfully, Judge Lake steps in with plenty of recorded testimony. Now, let's find out if the baby mama just had a friend over, or if we might have to label it something else.
Mr. Glover, you are not her father. I know this was a disappointment. Unfortunately, your instincts were correct. And that day you walked into the house, I think your gut feeling. Okay, Miss Glover?
Yeah.
Hey, another big argument. This time it involves Miss Haysbert and Mr. Howard. She's taking him to court to ask for a paternity test because she thinks he's not being responsible and taking care of things. She's saying if he doesn't start acting responsibly soon, things won't end well for him. Can you believe it?
I met this clown at the Washington Redskins Stadium.
Let's use respectful language.
We were co-workers, and then after that, we became friends. Like, we used to chill with each other outside of work. Something was wrong. He came to me. After that, started having sex, and we got drunk.
Drunk and had sex.
After that, like, I knew he had a girlfriend, and, you know, I didn't mind because we were just friends.
The emotions were intense. They began their love story while working together, which usually is a good beginning, right? But the person being accused says Miss Haysbert knew he already had a girlfriend. I don't get that part at all.
That's when the girlfriend started calling my phone, telling me, oh, they're still together, that he never broke up with her, that he lied basically, that she lived with him, that they lived together. So I was like, okay, well, he's telling me y'all been broke up.
Lying in court.
So
I can't believe that you're lying in court.
When she called me, she asked me, oh, when did we start dating? And we were pregnant around the same time.
Okay, so the supposed father pulled a disappearing act, and to add more drama, his ex started referring to Miss Haysbert. But wait, according to the defendant, it's all a massive story of telling a lie. Let's get the story straight from the horse's mouth. It's your time to explain, sir.
She said, I'm pregnant. I said, no. Oh, you is? I said, damn. So I said,
Mr. Howard, you in the court.
I apologize, man. I was like, oh, you pregnant? And she was like, well, what you gonna do? I said, I'm a man up. I'm a man about mine. I'm gonna take care of it.
Hey, Mr. Howard, ditch the Stuart Little vibes. Just a reminder, this is not a hangout with pals, it's a serious courtroom. When he got the news that Miss Haysbert was expecting, he stepped up and was prepared to take responsibility like an adult.
I was in Belter, I was on with you, that's you. You were sleeping with me and Kiana at the same time. You had to lie and say that you weren't with her in order for you to even talk to me. Yes, you lied.
Why did I have to lie?
You told me that you weren't with her anymore. But yes, she was calling your phone, blowing up your phone. You said, I'm only gonna be there for the baby. You told me that your daughter wasn't yours because she was sleeping around on you.
Whew, this woman must have been screaming her lungs out when he went all chaotic for the first time. It was like a soap opera, but now we're out of soap. Before we bring in Miss Lynch, how about we hear from the reasonable Miss Haysbert?
We had broke up one time, but when we broke up, it was a week, so I really don't call that as a broke up. For one, she knew we was in a relationship. She knew that for them to get drunk, she don't have respect for herself to sleep with somebody else's man.
And Mr. Howard, during that time, you were with Ms. Lynch, but you were also with Ms. Haber.
Yeah.
Adding to the drama, here comes Miss Lynch, Mr. Howard's ex and the mother of his other child. Despite the chaos in the courtroom, she remains surprisingly composed. Now, let's pay attention to what she has to say in her testimony.
It was because he gave it to me because he said he wanted to marry me. So, therefore,
give you nothing.
I pawned it. It was in my right to pawn it.
My grandmother gave me that ring.
You probably
It's
lied about
priceless.
that.
It's priceless.
You lied about that.
I would never lie about my grandmother. She in the grave.
You're a
She gave me that ring. You tripping.
Get it under control.
What a hassle! This is likely the most noise this paternity court has seen. Let's tone it down and shift the attention to the DNA results. It's time to settle the dispute between Miss Haysbert and Mr. Howard and bring some closure.
Mr. Howard, you are his father.
To death do us pop.
All right, I'ma
so
be a
it
man.
is what it is.
I'ma be a
don't
man.
call my phone. Don't
I'ma
have
be a
that
man.
little witch over
I'ma be
there
a
on my
man.
phone.
I'ma
Or
be
text
a
my
man.
phone. You will never see him.
I'ma be a
Never.
man.